This video is prepared to deliberate the concept of generation of programming languages. This is produced in order to accomplish the assignment reading with subject programming languages and design concepts conducted by Sri Lanka Institute of Information Technology. Mentioned below are the group members as follows. At the very first beginning, let's see what is a programming language. Programming language is an artificial language designed to express computation that can be performed by a machine. We can split this programming language into generation according to their characterization. Now let's see about programming language generations. We'll first move to first generation language. First generation language, also known as machine languages. That is the only language which the computer really understands. It use of zeros and ones. There was no translator or assembler used to compile those languages. This picture shows how a computer adds two numbers by using sequence of zeros and ones. There are few advantages in first generation language, but the codes using first generation language can run very fast and efficiently. There are some disadvantages. Machine language is too difficult to understand. Also, if there is errors, will take so much of time and very difficult to correct them. Also, there are machine dependent languages. Now we'll move to second generation language, or the assembly language. Assembly language were developed in 1950s as a low-level language which implements a symbolic representation of machine code. This consists of a series of mnemonic statements and meta-statements. Mnemonic statement is a very short term or a special word which helps to remember something. And a meta sentence is a sentence which refers to itself. In second generation, it uses assembler to translate the assembly code to machine code. Also, these are executable instructions which can be loaded to memory. This shows how an assembly code translates into an object code or a machine code. If we take the language design of assembly language, it consists with three types of instructions. There are opcode mnemonic, data section, and assembly directives. Opcode mnemonic, which is single executable machine language instruction or an operation. And there are some examples. Data section. This is the section used to define the data element to hold data and variables. Assembly directives. Assembly directives or the pseudo operations. These are some examples for assembly directives. Currently, second generation languages are directly interact with hardware manipulations, such as device drivers, real-time systems. Not only that, it used for writing computer viruses software for. Now we are moving to third generation language. These languages are developed in late 1950s as high-level languages, more user-friendly, and third generation languages are the first to use true English. These languages are machine independent and stress expressivity. As a major advantage, third generation language introduced structured programming design for programming. These are some examples. These show the family tree of programming languages, how they built up. Let's see the very first programming language in third generation language, Fortran. Fortran, or Formula Translating System, is the very first procedural paradigm language developed in 1950s by John Backus and IBM. Fortran is specially suited to numeric computation and scientific computing. Of a Fortran program, it is mainly divided into two parts, where there are declarative and imperative. Declarative or non-executable section contains memory allocation, name bindings, and initialization. Imperative or the executable section contains computation, control flow, and input and output. Fortran's control structure controls the flow of execution of the program using goto statements. Parameter passing is done by pass by reference and pass by values. Also allows mix-made operation, and subprograms are implemented using active records. And also, data protection is not in a higher level because subroutine pass arguments by reference rather than value. Data scoping and the loop controls are limited. But still, Fortran is used for number crunching application as well as scientific engineering type procedures. Now let's see another third generation language called Pascal. Pascal is a small efficient language designed in 1968 and published on 1970s by Nicholas Wirth. It is a procedural programming language with best practices since it has achieved its major goal. Simplicity is first major goal, which introduced a teaching language. Secondly, efficiency was there at the implementation, and it should be reliable and efficient at both runtime and compile time on the available computers. Thirdly, it was reliable because much more support for the security of the language. The structure of Pascal program is included with many control structures with reserved words such as if, else, then, while, for, and so on. Have many structuring facilities and other abstraction like type definition, records, enumeration, pointers, and sets. Supports for integer, real, boolean, and char data types. So it has introduced var keyword and type keywords for variable declaration and type declaration. Pascal program can have main program and subprograms, where subprograms can be either procedure functions type. The picture shows Pascal program which use both procedure and functions. Now we'll see what are the main difference between Pascal and Fortran. Fortran programs are usually less well structured than Pascal program. Fortran doesn't use assignment syntax. Fortran does not have records, pointers, user-defined types, scalar types, subintervals, but it has complex and double precisions. Argument association is different. Common data are treated differently. Fortran has separate compilation. Fortran did not get if, then, else, and if until 1978. Blanks are not significant. Mixing of integer and floating point numbers is implemented differently. Although Pascal is an efficient language, there are design issues. Some of them are using forward construct allows to use only one pass compilers. The array also considered to a type. Since it has using forward declaration, the local variable are declared far from the use, and it makes program difficult. The language does not support the process of compiling modules independently. Now we'll move into one of the mostly used third generation language called C language. C is an imperative system implementation language designed in between 1969 and 1973 by Dennis Ritchie. This is mostly used for portable application software. The characteristics of C: facilities for structured programming, allows lexical variable scope and recursion, parameter passing is done by pass by value, variables may be hidden in nested blocks, partially weak type checking, using larger number of compound operators, using a formal grammar with number of data such as primitive type, arrays, pointers, strings, and structures and unions.